Australasian pharmacy.
Our next guest is inspiring you to make big moves in your pharmacy career. She is known as the Rural Pharmacist. She is Shaylee Mills and joins us now. Hello, Shay.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Now tell me, what's it like to be a rural pharmacist?
Well, that's a very good question because it honestly depends on the day. That's the beauty of rural pharmacy. Every day looks a little bit different. So for me, it might be working out in a clinic, in an Aboriginal health service, working part of a multidisciplinary team. I also spend a lot of time in community pharmacy, working on the front floor, helping patients across things like sleep apnea, mental health services, general health checks, all of those kinds of things. And other days I do a lot of time advocating for rural pharmacy and the rural pharmacist profession and trying to get young people out here. So yeah, my job is quite varied. Yeah.
I'm going to come back to that, the inspiring side. You're in WA. Where exactly do you practice?
So I'm practicing in Karratha, which is a country town up in the Pilbara region, so a large mining area. And I say country town, but it is quite a large centre. They call it a city. It's closest to a city that we'll probably get up there. But yeah, it's about a 2-hour plane flight from Perth or 16-hour drive, so it's a fair way away out in the red dirt.
It's a beautiful part of the state, but it's also a unique area, isn't it?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the community within the Karratha area.
Yeah, so the community is quite diverse. As I mentioned, it's a big mining region, so part of that community is actually FIFO workers, so fly in, fly out. So we get people from all over the country, eastern states, all the way down top of WA, bottom of WA, whoever coming along flying in. We also have, like a wonderful Indigenous community out there, the local people, and then you've obviously got the people who've born and bred in Karratha, lived there their whole life, it's quite diverse, so it's really good.
You're quite the Insta-famous pharmacist, I have to say. What is it, you spoke a little bit about inspiring young pharmacists. Tell me more about that.
So I think it's just really important in our industry to have a lot of positivity about what we can do as pharmacists. I have the belief that you can do anything as a pharmacist. You can make whatever career path you want for yourself, and I like the fact that it's so flexible, but I think it's inspiring young people and young pharmacists to recognise that that's the case. And I do that through rural pharmacy, and I found that I've been able to build my own career in rural pharmacy. So yeah, that's sort of what it's about.
Is there enthusiasm amongst your peers, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, being at APP, I've kind of realised, I've got people coming up and saying hello, and like they've seen my stuff on TikTok and things like that. So I'm sort of realising, okay, maybe it is getting out a little bit further than I thought it was going to be. But so that's been really nice. It's been positive feedback all the way through, and I couldn't be more grateful for the people that have followed along from the start or has just started following along now. And it's just about getting them interested and engaged in what you can do in rural pharmacy, so that hopefully we might be able to get more people out there. Yeah.
It's interesting the role that social media plays now in community pharmacy. I mean, we're a bit tongue-in-cheek and we're like, you're a TikTok star.
It gets a bit tricky.
But it also serves an incredible, it serves a great role for the community itself in being able to connect with pharmacists.
Yeah, correct. And it also helps to, I guess, for the community to understand what we can do as pharmacists. I think there's a lot of things that people don't realise, especially in our town. It is quite a younger generation. It's a lot of young people coming in for the work, or young families there. They might not necessarily need to go to a pharmacy very often or need a lot of medications, but they do. I actually have had patients come in being like, you're the girl, like you were on my TikTok the other day, and then just giving them that broader idea of what it is we actually do every day. I think that's really important. That's helpful for everyone. It
is a wonderful way to connect. What about somebody, maybe a little older, who's thinking, I can't even with the social media, I just can't. What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
The advice I would give is that it's happening either way.
Yeah.
It's a part of our world, and our world is forever changing, and we can utilise it to our advantage. There's definitely negative sides, but there's always positive sides that we can bring from it, and not to be too scared of it.
Not to be too scared. A young pharmacist who's considering a career in a rural area, would you recommend it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I spend all my time doing. But in terms of why, I mean, I could give you a list that could go on forever, but it's the skills and experience that you gain, especially as an early career pharmacist. You are exposed to things that you probably might not be exposed to early on, and you definitely feel more confident and more capable quickly. The community connection that you have, the rapport building, you see patients over and over and over again, and that follow-up is so important, and you feel like you're part of the town. And just the fact that you get to have so much fun. You get to see parts of Australia that you may not go otherwise. It feels like a bit of a working holiday. There's lots of benefits to it in terms of flexible time rosters, financial benefits, the way that you can actually set yourself up as a young person can be really beneficial. So those are a couple of top things. Yeah.
It's wonderful to get your perspective, from a young pharmacist in a rural area. Would you ever consider moving to the big smoke?
I think at some point I probably will move back. So I did grow up in a rural, I'm a country girl at heart, and I've spent time in the city in the sense that I had to go to boarding school. And I do think maybe later on I probably will move back to the city because there is things like family considerations, being closer to home. But I don't think that'll be anytime soon. But I think that's an important thing to note about rural pharmacy. That going there for a long time is obviously so beneficial, but you also don't have to be there forever. We're not asking you to stay and commit your whole life away. You can do anything. You can go anywhere. And I definitely think it's easier while you're younger. Yeah.
While you're footloose and fancy,
exactly.
rural area,
no responsibilities. Yeah.
It's the place to be.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Are you excited for the future in pharmacy?
Definitely. Very excited for the future of pharmacy. There is a lot of change happening in our industry, but when there's a lot of change, that's the best opportunity for you to take advantage of things or career paths that you can forge, things that you can do. Taking advantage of the challenges that you might be seeing, it's definitely the best time. So as I said, you can do anything as a pharmacist. I've pretty much, I'm doing stuff now that I never would have thought that I would have done. So it's a really good time.
You are definitely an inspiration. It's been great chatting with you, and I'm sure the TikTok followers will follow.
Yes,
following our
the
chat
Rural
here.
Pharmacist, you know where to find me.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
There you go, the Rural Pharmacist. You can check her out on Instagram or TikTok. We'll be back with more shortly.
Australasian Pharmacy.